Now, say Assad's girlfriend sees how these automations are positively impacting Assad's life and she wants in on the action, but she loves living on campus, so she doesn't really want to move. So she starts spending more time in the building with Assad instead of them visiting each other like they usually do. She wants the unit's personal data ecosystem to collect her behavioral data as well, so it can nudge her in the right direction, behavioral wise, and also help her out with her studies. The room already tells her when she's about to finish the hot water in the morning, having detected there are two people in the room, and also gives her a timeline of how long the water would reheat in the evenings after Assad takes his 1 hour long splish splash ducky bath, where he keeps draining half the water and refilling with hot water every 15 minutes when the water gets cold. She gets notified when the water in the geyser reaches an ideal temperature for her based on her preferred shower mix temperature. Now, Assad's girlfriend is not a paying tenant. She's a guest of the tenant who is using automation services for free. Here's the thing, Assad wants her around, and students are not islands, they are people. They have friends, they have girlfriends and boyfriends, they have families, so it's natural that they'll get visitors, sometimes often, sometimes every now and then. So the AI model should be able to pick up the two or more profiles and do what it needs to do accordingly. In any case, if Assad and his girlfriend break up, she'll still need her automation profile, which, depending on her dependence on the automations, might lead her to taking up a lease in the building. Besides, more automations usage means more credits purchased, so this is not a bad thing. If, on the other hand, other students in the building start feeling entrepreneurial, they sign up for the unlimited automations subscription value option and then, for a small fee, start letting their friends come over during breaks in between classes on a schedule in order for them to generate their own automation profiles and get some lifestyle enhancements benefits under the guise of being the tenant's girlfriends, cousins, siblings, and so on. Houston, we have a problem. Firstly, this is a situation that is creating a perception that students can benefit from the building's tenants' value features without actually taking up a lease in the building. Furthermore, security and other issues due to the in and out movement of all of these people, thus making actual tenants uncomfortable, are likely to be blamed on your platform by the building manager. What you have here is external fraud by misrepresentation. The question to then ask is, over and above the obvious problem, what leakage are you likely to experience as a result of this situation? If your occupancy is not consistently sitting at 100%, you have rental revenue leakage. You are driving stickiness to the building with students you are not generating rental revenue from. Furthermore, nobody wants to live in a bus station, so this might actually lead to lease cancellations, drive a bad reputation for the building, and actually lead to unstickiness. You are also using more resources, technology-wise, in terms of the processing power, cloud storage, and so on, having to run all of these models, from individual profile detection to personalization to AI-assisted next best action initiatives, and so on. For people, you have no opportunity to monetize in any way, shape, or form within the current context. The key here is identifying the main opponent player and addressing them directly. And in this case, that's the misguided entrepreneurial tenant. On the one hand, you are taking up more space and computing power, storing all these extra profiles that are constantly being learned, separated, and hyper-personalized, while getting nothing in return. That's leakage right there. All these non-tenants getting tenant perks are actually poking holes in your pocket. On the other hand, targeting the tenant's clients as part of the strategy of solving the fraudulent behavior problem would be a bit misguided. They are not the enemy, they are, in fact, an opportunity, and you'd rather set up a different game with them. The payoff being leveraging the opportunity that has presented itself. You might feel like you don't really want to punish the entrepreneurial student. They spotted an opportunity and they took it. So while you don't necessarily want to reward them, you don't necessarily have to punish them. They have a model to scale your platform, which, let's face it, is not really that innovative. Lifestyle apps, from financial management to sleep improvement, from fitness improvement to weight management, lifestyle apps exist by the dozen. The main difference is that a lot of them depend on an element of user data entry at varying levels, and they deal with one element of a person's lifestyle. While many of them are useful, the elements of a person's lifestyle are usually integrated in a somewhat complex and nuanced manner. The model of your platform is that you've taken a room with a few smart devices integrated via an IoT setup, as well as some Wi Fi, and created a chamber of positive transformation for the individual inhabiting the room, which, to make it work optimally, they don't have to do anything but be themselves and go on about their day to day lives as they are used to. A couple of nudges and a lot of conveniences, and a few months later, they have become a better version of themselves without even trying. So, in terms of the game against the fraudulent student, what you have here is a zero-sum game. The scheming tenant running this scheme gains in the form of fees they are charging the other students for as long as they continue to run the scheme, and you lose in the form of revenue leakage as well as the risk of losing tenants. If you are able to stop them, they lose the opportunity to make extra cash, and you avert the risk of leakage and tenant loss. Depending on how you look at the situation, a tenant willing to defraud you and is so inconsiderate as to make other tenants uncomfortable for their own gain might not be someone you want to keep. On the other hand, though, they are doing amazingly advertising wise in promoting your building and your platform. The only issue is that their behavior is driving an outcome that contradicts your model, which simply is if you want to use the platform, you have to be a tenant in the building. So at this point, it is up to you how you want to address the situation. You can deal with the tenant directly via policy changes. The only issue here is that you can't do so without altering the experience for everyone else in the building, which might present its own risks in terms of tenant experience in relation to the stickiness you are trying to drive. If you suddenly introduce policy changes, such as limiting tenants to one or two profiles, automations-wise, within certain time durations, or adding clauses about extra charges for automations overusage, the overusage of which is ambiguously defined, you are likely to start alienating good tenants. It might make better sense to rather deal with the issue by addressing the outcome of the tenant's behavior versus addressing the tenant's behavior itself. In effect, change the outcome of the entrepreneurial tenant's behavior to something that benefits you. You can carry on in the same vein of this zero-sum game, or you can rather opt for a strategy that puts you in a strictly dominant position to ensure that you've dealt with the situation once and for all. One way of changing the outcome is to make the scheming tenant's behavior more unpalatable for them in order to disincentivize them to run the scheme. You'll have to get creative here, beat them at their own game. So, if someone spends enough time in the unit to actually build a personalized profile, it is not unreasonable to assume that this individual is personally close to the tenant. If they are spending this much time in the unit, but they are not close to the tenant, then that can be considered to be squatting, which puts the tenant in the wrong. Perhaps some nudge notifications related to the more embarrassing habits of the tenant, such as issues with their bowel movements, for example, might do the trick. Your contract is with the tenant and only with the tenant, so a rogue fight-back algorithm that assigns the behaviors of their clients to the tenant's profile once you've established wrongdoing on their part is fair game. After all these people coming in and out of the building will likely be using the toilet, and their toilet usage behavior collectively, number of flushes for example, along with the weird combination of food items they store in the fridge during their short stay, from vegan salads to leftover beef curry, from dairy-free cheese to goat's cheese salad, a lot of which has been taken out of the fridge and heated in the microwave at some point during their stay, might necessitate a nudge from the AI. At the same time, there's an opportunity here. If the rogue tenant has clients, then it means demand exists, and you have to find some way to leverage it. So what are you going to do? Use the client list usage data to see what automation insights or features are most valued and create an app based off that, which instead of autonomously collecting behavioral data, it prompts and accepts user habits and behavioral data input and uses that to learn, refine, and nudge, thus potentially alienating your property clients. Or perhaps build a Learn me, then nudge me, day pod or day pods downstairs in the building itself that students can book and use on a roster schedule in all buildings where your platform runs. There's an idea. Perhaps a $1 rate per hour occupation on a singular student basis, plus an automation's usage based subscription. Now there's a money pot right there. Even students who live at home can use these pods to chill and watch TV, do assignments, or take a day shower to build up a profile and get nudges as their data increases. Right there, you've got a pipeline of potential tenants, something that is likely to keep your occupation at 100%. That's another revenue stream, a bigger student pool from which to negotiate for partnerships and potential bonuses from the contract with the building manager.